to refer to them as the five families.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like the movie The Godfather, they're like the five families where you have Portugal, Spain, France, Dutch, and you've got England as the Godfather. I didn't put the United States in this because they're not a part of this yet. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they're like an underboss somewhere. You know what I mean? Handling the Godfather's business over there.
Right. They hadn't worked their way up yet.
They ain't worked their way up. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. They're not even part of this shit. They can't sit at the table yet.
And some cats ain't even got the eye on them, like being that guy that's gonna rise up.
Y'all ain't even on this yet. So, you know what I mean? And like I said, so when you have the slave trade going on, you know what I'm saying? You got those five families that are involved in this, and you know, and certain little war starts to break out. No different than the gangland wars of the 1920s, Al Capone in Chicago. You know, when they talking about those between the Irish and the Italians and the Jews. You know what I mean? Same thing with these nationalities. They were doing the same type of fighting in these waters. Who was going to control these waters? Who was going to control these parts, these little islands and stuff, and enslave these people? That's why you go throughout the Caribbean. You've got people speaking what? French. You've got them speaking English, and you've got them speaking Portuguese. And in certain ones, you even have them speaking Dutch. You know? So it goes to show you, you know what I'm saying? So then after them having all these wars together, you know what I'm saying? So now we're going to divvy out who's getting what. And that's why I call England the godfather of them all, because it didn't matter what was divvied out to anybody. You still pay homage to me. No matter what y'all do, I'm getting some of this.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
And that's how the entire slave trade was going until one thing happened.
What was that?
Your hitman decided that he wanted to be a boss now.
United States.
There it is. You know what I mean? Because, you know, somewhere you had something, you basically had the 13 colonies enslaved. I mean, just think about it. They were only, regardless if you're white or black, everything that you was producing was being given to England.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
Whatever riches there were, you're giving this to them. You're taking that.
England was the pimp.
That's the pimp, yo. That's the pimp. You know what I'm saying? That's the Godfather. That was the Godfather. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at it, man, in that sense.
So then the United States decides they're gonna try to put a hit on England.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? You always want to whack out to everybody on someone on a team. You know what I'm saying? No different than Caesar and his men, you know, in Roman times.
Right.
You know, you're getting whacked out by the people that are closest to you.
Yeah.
And then they come up with a plan like, yo, we're gonna whack out the boss. You know what I'm saying? Other people knew what you had going on, because people forget how France came along and helped the United States, you know what I'm saying, win its independence against England. Nobody really talks about that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They couldn't have did it by themselves.
Yeah.
Nah,
that's why the United States always feels indebted to France.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Always, because you know they could always put on the table. I mean, damn, yo, you could talk all that shit now, blah 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 blah, but you wouldn't have this if we da 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 da. Yeah, exactly. You were power now. You above me, but don't forget, I was above you. History can always, you know what I'm saying, repeat itself.
Exactly, saved your ass. But you know what's crazy? At the center of all of this is the slave trade. The slave trade is the blood of this thing, man. Yeah. Totally.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
So go back to Portugal, man. How does Portugal? So you say Portugal
Portugal was the top dog at one point before England even got involved in this. You know, Portugal was. You got to remember, this whole slave trade started from the Portuguese. I mean, the Portuguese. The Portuguese had went over there in those little small Canary Islands, which we call Cape Verde now. You know what I mean? And basically tested it out to see how this shit really works. I mean, empowering over people.
Right.
And you know, putting them out there on those 10 little islands out there, you know what I'm saying? You know, whichever ones, you know what I'm saying, was producing resources, that's where you was putting slaves at. And they started putting slaves over there somewhere, but I believe around the year 1447. That right there is about 45 years before the so-called Christopher Columbus even discovers so-called America.
Damn. Damn. So they get into the game, they're running the show.
They're running the show, baby. That's you mean you go to South America. I mean, you go to South America. Take Brazil, for instance, which has the largest Black population, I believe, other than Africa, the largest Black population in the world, other than Africa. But when you're talking about, I mean, we're not talking South America itself, and if you look at it on the map, when you look at Brazil alone, when you're looking at South, Brazil alone is almost the size of the United States.
Damn.
And the majority of all the people there, you know, Black people are there, and they all speak Portuguese because that's where they were enslaved. That's what the Portuguese had that whole shebang.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
You have to even look at France. You know what I'm saying? France, I mean, we look at the territories that France has today, you just see little ass Haiti, you know, they speak French there. But that's why when you go to Louisiana, a lot of the Black people there, they speak French there as well, because you know, before they even sold the Louisiana Purchase, you know what I'm saying, that was their territory as well. If things had went Napoleon's way, I mean, the whole entire West Coast of America today would probably be speaking French.
Right.
It just didn't get that opportunity to do that. France just didn't get that opportunity to do that. But that, I always try and tell people, you want to know who rules the world, all you have to do is go according to all the languages. That's it.
Yeah. Which
languages tell you who's in control. If you live in a particular country in Africa, if you live in Kenya, and that's all you speak is Kenyan, then it goes to show you how much you control.
Right, you got that small area.
That's your area, Kenya. You step outside of it, you have no control of it because you haven't laid a foundation anywhere where you got other people speaking your nationality, speaking your language.
It's like you've influenced the world to a point where they're forced to have to wheel and deal with you.
Right.
They have to know your language.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Now, take Africa, for instance. It can go around the world and it'll have to speak everyone else's language. But those other nationalities, do they have to speak your language? No. To do business with me, you got to learn who I am because I'm the one who's in power. I'm running this.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
It's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is. Africa can become biggest country in the whole world, out of all the continents. However, you know what I'm saying? It has probably how can the biggest continent with the biggest majority of people have the most littlest power in the world? Does that even make sense?
It don't make no sense at all. And we didn't even mention that has the most resources.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Every other country in the world is resources.
I didn't mention resources only for the simple fact that because you don't have the power that these other countries have.
Gotcha.
Obviously, that's why you don't control your resources.
Dang. You ain't got no influence, no power, no nothing. You the largest country in the world.
Yeah.
You know? It's crazy. But again, as we talking about, going way back to with the Portuguese, enslaving, it just, we're talking the 1400s, hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Yeah,
It's nonstop with the attack on Africa.
it is.
It's
It is.
nonstop. It's just been open territory for the European, and when it comes to
And
attacking
even
Africa.
back then, and even back then, it was probably more of a control thing, just to have power. But today, they even see it. It's more than just control and power. To them, it's more of a necessity because if we let go of the handle we have on you, what will happen to us?
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's not like, here it is, I live in a village, you live in a village, we've come into terms. We didn't like each other, but we've come into terms, and we're all just going to go back to living exactly the same way we lived inside our village. But see, it's different here in America like that. These people have lots of wealth. You know what I mean? Wealth beyond my imagination, to where for you to let go of that chokehold that's on me and give me the opportunities to advance like you, then what happens to you? By not even me forcing it upon you, just because of the way I supersede over you in certain things, that it plunged you where you were at,
right,
and put you in a hole. Not that I did it to you on purpose or intentional or anything like that. It just,
cause and effect, man.
There it is.
How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
Switch gears real quick. Go back for a second. Tell me a little bit about Portuguese and Spain, man. Because again, I got to go back to Portugal. We know slave trade starts all with Portugal. How do they lose their power again? Because you said Europe and Spain came in.
It's like in any situation, use drug dealers, for instance. I mean, you've got, 3 or 4 sections where dudes are selling drugs and stuff, but only one of them seems to be making that real uku buku money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When people start seeing you doing that, and their mission is to now take that from you. Well, that's what happened to the Portuguese, you know what I'm saying? Portuguese was, they had their thing going. Yeah, y'all was making money, but you're only getting minimum resources, because remember, you started your thing off in the Cape Verde Islands. It's only so amount of resources there. You're starting to make means on something, but by that time, other people see what you got going on. And that's when Spain and them step up and get involved, because once again, Spain and Portugal is connected to one another. Boom. So they can always see. So Portugal can always see what Spain's doing. Spain can always see what Portugal's doing. What's he doing over there on the harbor?
Right.
Damn, man. Look like he
just going on over there.
You know what I'm saying? Go and ask a few questions. Well, what y'all doing up over here? We selling slaves. Selling slaves? What's that? Well, that's when you take a human being, you sell him, and you're gonna get money for it, boy. I'm saying, damn, you selling human beings? Isn't that kind of cruel? Yeah, it's cruel, man. But yo, it pays. It pays.
Right.
Next thing you know, you off doing the same damn thing, because the same thing we said about the drugs. Like, yo, come on, man, selling drugs, that's kind of crazy, man. You killing your own people. But what he said, it pays. It pays, and you see the money coming in. So what you do, you get involved, you jump on it. That's what they did. That's what they did. Seeing this money flowing like that, because when you see the money flowing in, you only see one thing happening. It's a matter of time before this person is going to have some serious control. And when you have that control, who you coming after? The only reason why you ain't taking over my country now, because you don't have the power to do it. But if you had the power to do it, would you do it?
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American. Black people.
It's the same thing with Asia. I mean, with China and America today, or even with Russia. I mean, you guys are, you know what I'm saying, cool for the most part, because nobody can really whip nobody's ass like that without feeling some type of effect themselves. Okay, then, so you already know. You ask yourself, but if he did have the power to take, would he? We all know you would. China would do it to the United States. United States would do it to China, Russia. They would all, anybody would.
Exactly.
Anybody would. When you look over in England, you see all those little teeny tiny countries right there next to each other. A lot of them, they don't even like each other. But because of the other bigger people that are surrounded, like, yo, you can't mess with these people right here. Why? Because we gave them their own country. Okay. That's why you can't run over in Israel like that. Why can't we run up over there? Because we gave them their own country. You know what I'm saying? So it's because of things like that, to where, once again, like I said, if you had the power, we know you don't have the power right now, but if you did have the power, what would you do with it? Who would be the first people that you would come and try and take over? Well, obviously, it's probably me because I live next door to you. And that's how Portugal and Spain always looks at it.
Black people, black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American. Black people.
So Spain saw what Portugal had going on, and they was like, yeah, we about to make a move on.
And the way we do it, we'll do it. Well, let's try doing this together. We can all make money. Hey, yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, let's all work on this together. Twice the workers here, twice the slaves, twice the money. Hell yeah, let's do it together. Let's do it together. You ain't mean?
Right.
You provide the ships. I provide the chains. Hey, we got ourselves a slave ship here.
All the while, they checking out how they do it. They learning the technique. They learning everything they need to know before the takeover.
And other wolves are watching too. Then you got France, and you got the Dutch. You know what I mean?
So say what you were saying. You said something about the Dutch before, about how they were located, their territory and all that, and how they were kind of compromised.
Well, yes, because you have to think about it. I mean, they could have been way bigger than what they were. They very intelligent people. You know what I'm saying? They knew the game well. They just didn't have the manpower in order to even get. I mean, today we have planes, so it's different. But back then, there's no planes and nothing, so we're just using boats.
Right.
And in order to get to the country of Dutch, you would have to go through either England, Spain, or Portugal's waters. Okay, then, so now you're making money. So to go through and I know you're making money, so to even go through my waters, I charge you more.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I start putting, because I'm not gonna let you oversee me. Why would I do that?
Right.
I'm in the same game that you are. You're my competition, but I know how to control your competition, because in order to be a part of this game, you need me more than I need you. You have to cut through my waters. I don't need to cut through your waters. Right. I understand that you have a spot where you're picking up slaves. I got a spot to pick up my slaves, but I don't have to go nowhere near your country in order to go do that. You, on the other hand, have to. That becomes a problem. So a lot of fighting was going on, man. Right. A lot of fighting was going on. And that's the part, people don't ever really think about, because this.
Black people, black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American. Black people.
That's the slave game could have lasted so much longer. Now, when England gets out of it, the first thing England does is that I'm killing this whole entire game. This whole entire fucking game is gonna die because of me. Okay, then. Okay. When England got out, that is the beginning of this whole entire slave trade dying up, because they lost the war against the United States, against the 13 colonies, but they still controlled the waters. And when you controlled the waters, you said, there will be no more slave trading going from over here to the land. You cut the U.S. off from that.
Yeah.
And Portugal and France and all of them, we control the water, so you can go get a boat of slaves. but you ain't taking it across this Atlantic.
Mm.
It ain't happening. We run this, okay? And we out the game. Y'all kicked us out the game. Y'all threw monkey rental. All right, game's dead. How about that? Whatever you got to do what you're doing over there in your country to keep that shit going. That's why slavery only lasted about 85 to 90 years later. That's it.
Yeah.
It was completely done. Completely done.
They
But
dried
they
it
were the
up.
first one to cut that. Turn the lights off. No electricity bill paid. No gas bill paid. Cut. Water bill, you can't cross this Atlantic. Done. How about that? So United States tried everything. Those 13 colonies now, they United States, they're America now. They tried everything. That's why do you think at that time, now it became to they try to, well, fuck it, then we'll just go on and you know what? We'll just be reproducers ourselves. We'll start fucking the slaves and we'll make babies and we'll make what's it called? We'll make breeding camps. You know what I mean? So all this happened, you know what I mean? Because y'all was like, because it was the only thing else you can do, or your game was, your whole entire slave thing was going to die out right then and there. They cut what we say when you're in the war, the first thing you do is cut off their food supply. Well, you cut off the slave trade food supply.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
They were like, this ain't over yet. This ain't over yet.
Exactly. See, now y'all just trying to survive with what you got left up over here. You know what I mean? It's like the Coke man trying, well, I'm gonna take this kilo and I'm gonna cut it, and with, you know what I'm saying, with this stuff right here and make 2 more kilos so it'll stretch out. That's all you did with the slave trade here in America, was throw some cut on it and stretched it out. Right. With breeding on your own and making us into breeders as well. So and then what? That lasted you not even 100 years more. Got you 90 years. Bam, over. Done. See ya.
Damn.
So you know what I mean? And if England had stayed in the slave trade, this whole entire thing would still be at it. England would be running everything, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
It was all about money. All about money. And if you couldn't get the cut that you needed to get, and isn't that funny? But once again, it's just so funny. So once England cut this whole slave trade off, it's just like in these street wars that go on. Y'all supplier cut this group off or whatever. So y'all are stuck in so there's gonna be all this division going on between these other two, because like we're fighting over territories, the North and the South. Like, yo, dog, you about to put me out of business. Nah, nigga, you about to put me out of business. Nah, nigga, let me get the ratchet, Joe. You know what I mean? That's all that went down.
Right.
That is all that went down.
Right. Because it's like the North started trying to pimp the South.
It was a drug war. It was a drug war with people, slaves. You know what I mean? North was like, yo, man, come on, yo, we over here running this thing. So I was like, what? Nigga, come on, man, we already got a new supply, dog. We got it. We don't need the middleman no more. We about it now. What's up? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No different, man. No different. Product is product.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And people gonna fight to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? This is what's bringing in that money. Come on.
Exactly.
We could fight over slaves. We could fight over crack. But you know what I'm saying? We gonna move product.
But it's like the South is pumping out the product. They're the ones that's doing the main pumping of the raw material, right?
Basically, yeah.
And
yeah. You just didn't know what you had until, you know what I'm saying, somebody put you on.
What do you mean?
Somebody put you on, you know what I mean? You didn't even know what you had. You really didn't even know what you had. If we even think about the cotton industry, you got to remember, I mean, slavery had went on for about 300 years. Before that, it was about tobacco and rice and things of that nature, wood. You know what I mean? Cotton was the last thing to come. Cotton is what kept slavery going another 100 more years. Georgia wouldn't have even started slavery if it wasn't for cotton. That's the only reason why Georgia became a slave state, because of that white gold.
Wow. Wow. So they got, well, isn't it something like, wasn't the South producing the most cotton in the world?
Of course, when
It
they
was the
learned what they
largest cotton
had,
producer in the
when they
world,
learned what
correct?
they had. Yes, absolutely. Once they learned what they had, yeah. I mean, I think the only people that they had any competition with was Egypt
Right,
over in
right.
Cairo. That,
The
that is the
Egyptian
only
cotton.
person that gave the South any kind of competition. And that was just a matter of time before that would, you know what I'm saying, even took over Cairo.
So
Because
then,
they could have just got some Cairo Egyptian seed cotton seeds, and which some of them were doing that, and just started doing a big thing of that.
oh wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
So now then, what's the what was the conflict between the North and the South then?
What do you mean? I mean,
You got the South down here,
it
they're doing
speaks
all this manufacturing of cotton. The North, they've got the factories. What's the big deal?
because power. You got to understand. At this time, you know, especially when you're talking about places like Boston, Philadelphia, New York. You know, a lot of people are there. Their generations have been rich now for the last 100 or 200 years. They might even still be, you know, even brought their riches from England. They could have been that their family could have been in the slave trade back in England, then moved to America, and then broke off from England, however it may be. But they were what you consider to have old money. You know what I'm saying? And people in the South, that's new money. There's a huge difference between that because that's a representation of control. Old money, you know what I'm saying, definitely means I've been running this shit for a while. New money means, nigga, you just got here on the block.
Right.
So the difference between the North and the South on that, it's North was like, yo, you know what I mean? You know, capital, once again, capitalism. How can you capitalize something if you see your the people that you're holding down, the ones that you have the control are buying their way out of control to the point where all this, what we understand, okay, the South is growing the cotton, and we understand that the North is also manufacturing the cotton. But who's banking the dough?
Is it the North?
Who's banking?
It seemed like
banking the dough? If this is before the Confederate breaks off and has their own money. We're all using Union money. So who's holding the money? Even if that bank is in the South, that bank in the South represents what? The Union, the Federal Union, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So then now all of a sudden, and like I said, and the North was never ever going to go to war with the South, no, until you seceded away. Now hold up. Whoa, hold up. If you secede, that means I don't get no federal money. Those banks that are in your state, you ain't gonna give me no money. Now, hold up, whoa. Just like any person, when I've seen plenty of drug dealers like, nah, I ain't paying that dude none. Fuck him, nigga. I got my own shit. I don't even need him anymore. Man, what's that? Oh, that's what he said for real? Yo, send them niggas his way. He'll see what I'm about. He gonna see what I'm about. And what's it? You send some dudes up over to do, and that's what the Union did. That's what the North did.
Right.
You know, only because the South, you know what I'm saying, seceded. If you didn't ever seceded, they would have argued with you forever. We don't mind arguing with you because while we're arguing with you, what? The money's still inside the federal bank.
Still making money.
Our banks. We still got the money. That's not a problem. Everything, it was never a problem until you got the fuck out. Once you said, I'm not a part of y'all's United States anymore. Just like that. You know what I mean? Come again? What you say? What did you just say it one more time? Like that, yo.
Yeah. And so the war began.
That's how it began, brother.
The war began. Right. Which then makes sense, which brings us to the Emancipation Proclamation.
Hold on, before you go to emancipation, I just wanted to say one more thing, and you know, monkey see, monkey do.
What's that?
So when one state seceded, obviously the North is like they're like this, with their mouth wide open. because you're stunned, not because they did it. You're like, damn, how many more are going to do? Because if one state would have just seceded, you wouldn't have went to war with that. You would have sent some troops over there and been like, yo, I really think you should think a little bit differently about this. Ba 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 ba. That's what happened after you did it. Everyone else was like, did monkey see, monkey do? They jumped right out of it.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
Wait, remind me, refresh my, which was the first state to secede?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, that's what it was. Okay, and then it was what?
Yeah. After South Carolina, Mississippi.
Okay, boom.
And Mississippi was huge because Mississippi at that time, it was the 5th richest state out of all the states in the US, and it was the first richest of all the southern states. You know what I mean? It was number 1. Whereas, you know, because we have 50 states today, and it is now ranked at number 4950.
Dang.
Okay. And here it was at one time ranked as between number 1 and number 5.
All because of slavery.
There it is, baby. That goes to show you what I mean. This is how this money thing works, baby. This is how this money
they went right to the bottom.
Okay. This is how this money thing works, my man.
Wow.
Okay. Put you want to understand about being in you wonder why those white people in Mississippi, I hate them goddamn Yankees. I hate a damn Yankee because nigga, you in a poorhouse for I don't know how you do a background, you do I mean this is crazy, you know what I mean?
What's up?
Like this, picture yourself, you know what I mean? Here it is 2021 and you white. You're from the South and you do a background on your history. I mean, you're poor as shit right now. You know what I mean? Your mother was poor, but you do a background. You feel like, damn, at one time, you know, my great grandfather, he was the richest man in the South. yo. And you realize he had so much money. He has so much money that this money would have lasted all the way to your generation and beyond.
Right.
But because these other people, these Yankees, came and took that from you, you are at the bottom. The bottom. I mean, you can't get any lower than that to be in number 49 to 50 out of all 50 states. That's like taking a test. You know what I mean? And you ranked in number 49, 50, like, damn.
You at the lowest percentile. The lowest.
It is. How do you come out of that? I mean, isn't we like shouldn't y'all like be like today be like number 25, the lowest 35? Damn.
They went to
you
the bottom.
Was at 49, 50?
Bottom.
Sounds personal to me. Sounds personal to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're gonna show y'all what happens. That's a message. That's a message to send to all the states.
Exactly.
This is what will happen to you when y'all come out of character. You can be the richest of them all. This is speaking about for Jay-Z and the rest of them. Okay, and if you want to look at it on the music tip like that, and why you're looking out for your people, you know what I mean? It's because this is what will happen to you.
Right.
You take everything you have. You can be. Mississippi is a perfect example of what it means to be completely on the top of something.
Right.
Okay, then. What you have in front of you is power. What you have in front of you is power. That cotton is power.
Exactly.
Okay, then? But someone came and took that from you because they already had power.
And that's why you said something that Mississippi, as far as the southern states, was the richest of all of them. They were like the king of the South.
King of the South. There's not another state in the South that you can name that was richer than Mississippi.
Wow. And now
they basically topped all the northern states as well. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It was definitely going in that direction. It's not like even saying 20 years from now, Mississippi would have surpassed the other northern states. Dude, that was just within, if the Civil War didn't happen when it did, man, and they knew. That's what there was no time wasted once all those states succeeded like that. There was no time wasted.
Couldn't waste no time.
Yeah, you sent troops right out there because now it has to be done.
Right.
As a matter of fact, y'all don't even want to fight. We're drafting you.
Wow.
Okay, we're drafting you. You know what I mean? The only ones who didn't have a problem was those who understood about saving the Union.
Right.
But here it is. You might get, well, I love the Union too, but I ain't giving up my damn life. I ain't mad at them as you. I got family members that came from the South. It doesn't click to you like that because you don't understand what this Union is. And once again, we go back to, I know you don't understand, but you see all those federal banks that are inside all the other states. Yeah, well, they belong to us, and that's how we collect the money. So we got to go get that money. I know you don't want to fight, but I'm sending your ass out there anyway. Okay, go get my shit. Go get my shit and then protect my shit. Don't come home until I tell you to. For real, man. And you have to look at it like that because that's exactly that's exactly what went on, man.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American. Black people.
It had nothing to do with, black man. I understand what we did to you was ugly and wrong, and I'm sorry. So let me make up for you and give up my life and die for you and save and give you freedom. Had nothing to do with that whatsoever at all. Not even a little teeny tiny. Some people like to think that it was like half and half.
Just a little bit, right? Just a little.
Saving the black man. No. It had nothing to do with it at all. Period.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it was a strategic move.
Oh, nothing but a strategic move.
Yeah.
That's all it was. To the point where it was strategic enough to where, by putting this on paper and you understanding that, and you understand that, okay, now that you're free, this is what you're gonna do, because you're so-called free, but in order to keep that freedom, this is what you have to do.
Right, but you had brought something out to me one time before, where it's like, yeah, Abraham Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation, but that doesn't mean the slaves in the South are free. They're still slaves.
Yeah, I mean, signing the Emancipation Proclamation meant that if we're at war. So everything that you consider to be yours as far as property goes, since we're at war, I mean, whatever I take, it's mine.
Right.
So if I take this horse, it's mine. If I take this land, it's mine. So obviously, if I take the slaves, they're now mine. I can give them their freedom. I can do whatever so forth as I choose to do with it. Right. But because you signed the Emancipation Proclamation, we're over here in Maryland. Well, there's slaves over there in Alabama and Mississippi.
Right.
Okay, that emancipation, I heard about the Emancipation Proclamation. Well, what is that? Nigga, it don't mean shit to you. Put your head down and get your ass back to work.
Exactly, because the South is defeated. They're like, we don't care what the hell they say.
Because it wasn't nothing to do with, the president now wrote this, make sure the message gets all out to all the states and, they're free. No, Emancipation Proclamation has nothing to do with that. It just means that I'm able to take whatever is considered your property because we're at war. That's it. Freedom so-called freedom doesn't come, I think that was written in 1863. So, another 2 years later.
Right.
1865.
And like you said, it was another way of cutting off your enemy's supply, because now you have the slaves that are in the South trying to escape to the northern headquarters, wherever they're stationed.
Once again, in any war, I don't care what war it is, I don't care what country it is, to be strategic, my first implement in battle is going to be to cut off your major food supply.
Yeah.
And that is your major food supply, these slaves.
Yeah.
Cut it off. Take as much as back from it as you can. You know what I'm saying? You take one, you done help them back on progress.
Right.
Those are, you know what I'm saying, one less hand field slave, or what they call field hands. You know what I'm saying? One less field hand to carry out work.
Is it?
And before there's machines, obviously hands are the greatest thing in the world.
Manual labor. The more you have, the better. The more you make. The more manual labor you have, the more you can produce.
Seriously.
You know?
And so they realized that, cut that off, and eventually, you know what I'm saying, like everything else, you just got to let it take its time. It's going to die out. Remember, you know what I'm saying, England did it to us.
Right.
Now we're going to do it to them.
And that's the reason Abraham Lincoln himself said, I don't care about the slaves.
Right.
This is not about
if I
the slaves.
Can save the Union,
there you go.
I can save the Union and let y'all keep this slavery thing going on, hey, and I'll buy me a few too. Right. But it's going to hurt the Union.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American. Black people.
I just can't believe so many Black people, you know what I'm saying, today just, you know, you can still sit back and just take all this so-called Christopher Columbus stuff in, or, you know what I'm saying, or the real reasons why the Civil War was fought. Like, how come you can't take this in? You know, what it was really for.
Think about the way it's taught to them, though. You know, the way
I've always thought of it as a shitty story.
School.
I've always thought of it as I never looked at it as like some heroic story. I always looked at it as a shitty story. Like, that doesn't even make sense. To me, it didn't even make sense. Because only for the simple fact that like, I couldn't understand like why so many white people back then so-called are trying to help us, especially in the North. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. How come we've got all these abolish and these Quakers and all these Union soldiers who ran there to get us our freedom? You know what I mean? Because you wanted to help me and you got tired of this horrible thing called slavery. I mean, and then, but even as a child, I'm like, well, where'd y'all change? I mean, here in the North, where did y'all change?
Right.
Shit, because y'all are some evil motherfuckers.
Right. And that's the thing, like in school, they're not teaching you the politics of it.
Right.
When they're not teaching you, this thing was politics. Like you said, this was about capitalism. This is about money.
Exactly.
It ain't got nothing to do with the slaves.
Because if you would have realized that, wow, damn, hold up. You mean you never really did care about my life at all? You didn't care about my life at all? You mean you did this because you was trying to, you know what I'm saying, save the Union, save your pocket, save your money? I mean, wow. See, that would have given you a whole new concept, or like you would have knew these people, oh man, y'all still ain't nothing but the devil.
Exactly, because like you said, you got to ask yourself, well, when did they change then? Because if they didn't care about you then.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
Seriously. Especially, and it's sad because, you know, the North gets thrown under the bus constantly, even to this day, but and nobody ever rarely throws any salt on the North. And my
you
goodness.
meant the South. You meant the South gets thrown under the bus.
Huh?
You meant the South gets thrown under the bus?
Yeah, the South always gets thrown up under the bus. The South always gets thrown under the bus, and no salt is ever thrown on the North.
True that.
I mean, for all the ugliness that they have done, slavery would never even been in the South had it not even been for the North. And nobody never even takes any of this into consideration, man, ever. You know what I'm saying? That Massachusetts, you weren't the first state to actually have slavery, because Jamestown, Virginia has the very first slave recorded in 1619. Now, Massachusetts happens to have slavery going on around that time, but it is constituted in the year 1641. Okay, this is about 22 years later from when Virginia started. Now, what's the difference between Virginia having that slave and Massachusetts having that slave? Well, the difference is that Virginia's owner, owner that has the slave, his slave can run off right then and there. If he knows you just want to take off, take off. And you can't send no one after to go get him because there's no law that says that he has to be your slave. Massachusetts thought differently on that. That's why I say in 1641, they constituted, you made it a law. See, so now that, so these people in Virginia that got slaves, their slaves can just take off, boom, I'm gone. You know what I mean? And the judgment, well, your stupid ass never constituted it, so there's no law. There's no. I never had a team of people that are hired to go out and capture people's runaways. There's nothing constituted on that.
Right.
Not Massachusetts, because they constituted it. Now there's a law. Hold on, it's against the law for that slave to run off. Okay. It says it here on this piece of paper. You are mine for life. I own you. And your children and your children, children and your children, children after you. I own them. It's constituted. It's a law. So what happened? So what happens after that? All the states in the North happen to be the ones to jump on Massachusetts' idea quick, because then Rhode Island does it. And after Rhode Island does it, New York and Pennsylvania does it. Then Virginia, you know what I'm saying, slow ass south. Then Virginia and Delaware happened to, or Maryland happened to see the idea and was like, okay, let's do that same thing. Let's get it constituted. So now all these states started making up laws and constituting it as law. Because remember, you didn't have to do this federally. Because federally, then it automatically would have been a law. You know what I'm saying? But this is a state law. So Massachusetts does it. You know what I'm saying? Rhode Island does it. New York and Pennsylvania does it. And the other southern states, they see it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we can make up those same kind of laws too.
So Massachusetts got the ball rolling.
They got the ball rolling and having slave constituted. You know what I mean? To where it said, I own it. For you to be a slave and to hear that I own you for the rest of your life, your children and your children's children, though you know you're never going to meet the 5th or 6th generation of your family. And he's telling you already, I own them.
Damn.
No one in Virginia is telling you that, because nobody in Virginia like that knows. And they never made up a law about it. Only Massachusetts did that at first, and everybody fell in the suit.
Right. So it's not until Massachusetts that they capitalized on slavery. Like we can really turn this into something big and huge. We're going to exploit this thing.
We made a law on it. And you got to think about it, because people will talk about how slavery has been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Every nationality, one in the world has done it. All this, you know what I'm saying, ways they want to look at it like it's the same level as the United States. And no, but and even if you wanted to go on and say that, but there's not one country or one nationality other than the United States that ever constituted such a thing, already claiming your generations of generations already. It ain't even born.
Damn.
And they've already claimed it. Claimed it. So when you're thinking about when they constituted that in the year 1641, and here's a person they got as a slave, and now it's the year 1841, and slavery, that's 200 years. So when you was talking to that slave, 200 years went by, and he was right. Damn, I'm down to the 9th generation in 200 years, and
here we are.
and still owned by the same damn family.
Damn.
Because of what was constituted.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
Because you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I am so glad you brought that up. So glad you brought that up. Wow. Because at first, the state of Georgia didn't believe in slavery. Even when Massachusetts constituted it, okay, then the state representatives in Georgia, okay, they got up and spoke on that and talked about how wrong that was to do such a thing. And how could you do something so horrific? They even spoke about that. But see, it didn't mean that's in 1641. Okay. Right. Now it's like around 1750 and cotton's around. It's like 100 years later and cotton's around. Okay. And so he's like, well, my great-great-grandfather wasn't around to understand that there was cotton. He had seen this cotton. He would have never said that to Massachusetts. So you know what? We need to get on and get inside this game.
Like you said, white gold, man. They seen those
White
dollar
gold,
signs.
White gold. White gold.
They getting in.
It is.
All the morality, all of that goes out the window once the money came into the picture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go check that out yourself, man. Georgia spoke on that. Georgia spoke against Massachusetts and like, how could you constitute such a thing? Have the rights in owning a human being on paper?
And they went to that like one of the top producers of slaves. Like they went all in.
Okay. And now the one who constituted it is fighting against the other one who was against it.
It's just
you know what I mean? Now you're the Union and you're the Confederate. Like, damn. Like, wow.
But once again, it's the money that's controlling all this. Because once the like money was spread to the mass,
just like I told you with drug dealers. This drug dealer's over here on this block and you're over here on this block. Y'all don't pay each other no mind until you see your shit starting to fuck up my shit. That's it. Now there's a problem. And that's the same thing with any type of industry or any type of way of making money. Anything that's of some type of value, you know what I'm saying? And someone wants to control it over another person, then guess what? There's going to be consequences to it.
Right. Right. Damn.
Well, it can come down to that. It doesn't necessarily
have to be that way.
Yeah.
But because people allow their greed to get the best of them.
Exactly.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Black people. How did we get this far? You're not an American. You're an African who has to be an American.
Think about it, bro. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Exactly, man. It's just backwards. It's just ass backwards, man.
I mean, I could see how a Southerner would be so mad at the North, at a Yankee, like, you know, you guys created this thing. I learned from you. And now, hold up. Not only that, because you never made up a law. The North never made up a law to get rid of slavery. Hell no, you never did that. It just wasn't working out for you. So he was like, yo, I'm just gonna let this thing go. And the way you let it go is that, especially the ones that were very domesticated, you know what I'm saying? All you did was keep them as your butlers and your maids, and you know, do chores around the houses and the businesses and stuff like that.
Right.
The great majority of what you did, it's no different than what a person does today. I mean, you got a car right now. If you decide just buying a new one, what you gonna go do? Trade it in.
Yeah.
What you think they did with their slaves? They went trading them into the South. Slaves for cash.
Yeah.
Get it for half the price.
Wow.
That's what they did. What do you think? They just said, here, nigga, you can go? I just felt that this was boring, or the Congress people here in my state said that, you know what I mean, it's not doing us any good, so just let y'all go. No, you spent money on this. You even took out a loan to buy these people.
That's what people fail to realize, and I'm glad you brought that out. They forget this was an investment for people. Like you said, this was like, yeah, they didn't just, if I'm setting my slave free, that's a financial loss.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So many white people will say, well, my family wasn't involved in anything to do with the slave trade or anything like that. Well, did your great-great-grandpeople, did they work at any insurance company? Because slaves they were insured. You know what I mean? You had to take an insurance policy out on a slave. I mean, God forbid you just bought him and he dies a week later.
Right.
You're out of $1,500. You gotta have an insurance policy.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, it only makes sense. So you want to talk about y'all had nothing to do with it? Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
There's no escaping. It was integral to the entire economy, the system itself.
if your family had anything to do with banking, because y'all took investments out on this, you took loans out on this, the stock market, the first matter of fact, we are the first thing on the stock market. That's what made the stock market rise. You know what I mean? How did slaves go from costing $300 to $3,000? Inflation went up.
Right, right.
Like somebody was out there talking about, damn, this ain't like when my granddaddy was buying slaves. Shit, he told me he used to get them for 300.
Exactly.
This dude's asking me for 1,500. What the heck, man?
Yeah.
You know, we the same way we complain about anything else today that goes up.
Exactly. Man.
So, you know, and that is by people were controlling that. People that involved in this entire slave trade from the north to the south, even to back to England itself, the whole nine. You're always gonna make sure you're getting something out of these deals, man. Right. Something's coming out of this deal.
Right.
And
I think that's so true, especially the part that you mentioned about England, because even with England getting out of the Revolutionary War, what have you, no one ever thinks about what you talked about as far as how they cut off the slave trade, which basically killed slavery. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But two, they still had their hands in America's pocket.
Of course you do.
They still had that. Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course you do. That's why they wouldn't consider themselves to be in friends. They wouldn't even consider themselves to be brothers, nothing. But they use the word allies. Yeah. Everybody should know that friends and allies, that's just two totally different things.
Exactly. We can be allies, we don't have to be friends.
Right. I mean, allies means I watch your back, you watch my back.
Right. That's it. Exactly.
I got your best interest, you got my best interest, because they don't mess up each other's interests.
Exactly. If your interests mess up our interests, now we got a problem. We're no longer allies, and we were never friends.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. It's just that much easier to put a gun to your head and pull the trigger.